Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Power Gaming here, and today I am bringing you guys a brand new Identity podcast that me and a couple of guys on the unofficial Identity Discord server have made. We should hopefully be getting the developers onto this podcast in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. Just a quick note, this is all of our first podcast that we have ever done, so if it sounds awkward or cringy at any points, that is totally why. Please drop suggestions in the comments below, because that's the only way we can actually improve this podcast. Also, we will be getting some more people on to the podcast, just so we can get some more topics flowing. Without further ado, please enjoy this first episode of this Identity podcast. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I'll leave it to the rest of the members of the podcast to introduce themselves. Have a good one.
I guess I'll go first. Hi, I'm Compute Break. I'm the guy who made the unofficial Discord server for Identity.
Okay, I'll go next. So I'm Badger, and I'm an admin on the unofficial Identity Discord server.
I'm Christian. I am the I guess you could say I'm the lawmaker for the other mods on the unofficial Discord server.
Alright, okay, so if you don't know what Identity is, which I'm sure most of you will, it's pretty much an open world RPG MMO, which you can do pretty much anything. It's being developed by Asylum Entertainment and should be released either at the end of 2017 or 2018. There isn't really any set date at the current time, but that's what we're going off.
Yeah, so I'm guessing this game has been kind of a mystery since its beginning, because at first the release date was late 2016, early 2017, and at this point that's obvious not going to happen.
No, it's not. It's a shame, but I think the one problem that everyone is having with this game is the fact that the developers aren't really putting much news about it out. I've contacted them many times about this thing, and I've kind of got vague answers from them. And I think mostly what people want is they want some security if their investments have been put to good use, instead of just thrown away.
Yeah, that's definitely understandable. One of the problems on the forums is that a lot of people are asking if it's a scam, and
yeah, I saw that. Some people were a little bit, let's just say,
Skeptical.
vocal.
Yeah, people are very skeptical about this, because when you really think about it, it's 9 people working on a game bigger than GTA, pretty much. But sorry, go on.
Oh, no, I was just saying that, the main problem they have is with their small community, they don't really have time to do PR, which is what Pradis was talking about earlier. And, they're all very busy because they have to work on their portion of the game.
No, I understand that, and I did actually put a very long blog post on the forums. And you know what, making a video does take a long time, because especially for a PR video, you've got to make sure you've got a script there, you've got to get the correct gameplay, you've got to add effects in that will make the game look good. Obviously, it won't be representative of what exactly we're going to get, so they kind of need to work on that. And seeing the pictures of the town square, it does give some good indications of what we are going to get, and it does give me personally some security that the game is still being worked on.
Yeah, and one of the things about this development is people who were following No Man's Sky when it was being developed. It was a very small team, but they did a lot of PR, and the game ended up coming out as. Or is this PG-13? What are we rating this?
Yeah, honestly, just go wild.
Okay, so basically it was shit, to be nice about it.
Yeah, I mean, The problem it is with No Man's Sky is Sony took the marketing way too far. I mean, Hello Games is to blame at an extent, but Sony really shouldn't have, said what they did say about it, because it was just not representative of the final product. And it is currently getting looked into by, I'm pretty sure it's the UK.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know what it's called, but
by the UK Board of Advertisement or something.
Yeah.
We made a big mess up, basically.
Yeah, I mean, another thing where personally I think No Man's Sky went wrong was with the fact that it was randomly generated, whereas Identity won't be. It's being built from the ground up, and you know what? When you see games like Star Citizen, they've got a lot more of a budget and a larger team. Considering them, they are making literally a galaxy for you to explore.
So one of the things with No Man's Sky and the way it was PR'd was they did a lot more PR than development, and I think that kind of hurt them in the end.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think No Man's Sky is a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, but it just didn't live up to what people expected, and I think that is the big problem with what Identity will have to face when
it wasn't
gets
just
released.
With No Man's Sky. It wasn't just the community that overhyped it. It was actually the developers themselves, because they talked about features
they set the bar too high for themselves, which damaged them very, very highly when it came to the release of the game.
Yeah, and I think that also has to do with Sony was treating it as a AAA title, not an indie title, which it should have been.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was priced at as a AAA title, and if they had priced it at a lower price, it would have been a lot better. But and I think that's where Identity is going to do a lot better in, because you can get the cheapest pricing is, I believe, $15.
Right, so basic functions of the game. So you're gonna pretty much be able to. It's basically a life simulator, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mainly focused on roleplay.
Yeah, it's kind of like The Sims and GTA just made a baby, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I like to think about it like this. It incorporates a lot of different type of games into it. If you were into racing type games, you can find that in the game. If you're into social type games, you can find this in that game. And if you're into multiplayer shooting games, you can find it in this game.
But it will be quite rare.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll have some kind of racetrack for people who want to soup up their cars.
I believe they said that they will have. Yes.
Yeah, they said they have a track for racing.
But I think one of the bigger draws for this game is you can literally do anything in this game, and that's there's basically no limitations to what you can do based off of real life. So if you want to do a political job, or you want to be a singer, you can do that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I remember talking about this in a previous video, but the economy. Isn't it based off of real world prices? So if I wanted to go buy the equivalent of a Lamborghini Huracan, for example, it'd be around about 200 grand in game it is in real life.
I believe
yes.
I believe in the future they plan on implementing their own economy system based on the economy system that the people create in the game. So
or something like that. That'd be cool. Another thing that people want to hear about is single player, but the thing is, it's an open world online MMO, which really wouldn't work as a single player game. Let's just get real.
Yeah, I don't think single player would work very well because it's roleplay based. You have to have other people around you.
Yeah, exactly. If you just let NPCs, If you just had, if you just had AI, it'd feel very lifeless.
When you think about it, it's kind of like Minecraft, but in reverse in this situation, because Minecraft was originally a single player game, but then when multiplayer came out, nobody plays single player anymore because it's boring. So it's kind of like that.
So let's talk about social functions in the game. So where you'll be able to interact with other players, like the cinema, for example. So I'm pretty sure the cinema is going to be showing real films that, obviously are under no copyright laws, I think.
I believe.
Yeah.
Probably more of.
May I
Sorry.
talk about this bit? So cinemas will be showing films, I believe, that you can vote for, like what films you want to see. The cinema will be located in the town square, and it'll be included in the module. Another thing that they're going to have is, so they're going to have a karaoke bar, which is going to be quite fun. A feature that is quite interesting is the radio system. So
yeah, the radio system. I'd like to actually go real quick back to the cinema real quick, because there's something I wanted to bring up about that. I have a feeling they're probably going to end up doing something with like the public domain. A lot of movies are probably going to come from that, and it would be really interesting to see if you can, like in Gmod, you can actually put in YouTube video links.
That would be interesting.
YouTube videos.
Yeah, I mean the potential for people, like they could create a system in the game where people could create their own content. I'm not saying like a film system in the game, although that would be pretty goddamn cool.
Yeah, but that would be really hard to do considering their avatars.
Yeah. But if, say, you went and made something in GTA and you put it on the identity database for films or something, like that person could then get recognition for the work that they've done.
Yeah, that actually really interesting to me, because like you could literally watch other people play the game, see what they're doing, and if you find something interesting that you're like, oh, I didn't even know I could do that in the game, and then you can go do that.
Right, so let's talk about things that the player will create in the world. So we're talking about like t-shirts, like books and art and music.
Yeah, that's one of the things that really interests me about this game, is the fact that a lot of the things in the game are player created, including the music in the game, the books in the game, and the clothes in the game. Like that really, and some of the arts in the game can be created by the player. But that's one of the things about this game, like with the books, is that they could literally write full-featured books and then put them in Identity. And when you think about it, Identity is a really great place to test out products, because you can see, I wonder how a group of people would feel about this type of book. And
because Identity, no worries. Identity is like, I think they said their basis was 300 players per server. So if you go onto a server, you have probably. But if you go onto onto like one of the official servers, you have 300 people to view your product, and you can get criticism from them.
Any books that are written, they go into a library, and you can access all the books that have been written by any player in the library, which is quite cool.
Yeah,
and I think it's the same with music. You can go into record stores or something and buy someone's music, and they'd actually gain from that, which is quite cool. Should we continue on with the radio stuff?
Oh, yeah. So yeah, the radio. I saw that this can work through using a virtual audio cable, I think. So pretty much what you do, you can basically make your own radio station in the game.
And you can actually go to actual locations on the map, like radio stations, and host your own like talk show from there, which is quite cool.
Yeah, and one of the things also with that is that like a real radio in the game, like in a car radio, you can listen to a car radio, you can listen to it on a regular radio. It's quite interesting because you can queue up your own music. You can do basically like a real radio station, and that's pretty cool. I would say that's pretty cool. Like with that, with the modules, this will be a great time for them to be able to test them. And when the town square module does eventually come out, then I feel like that will probably give a lot of confirmation to the community that this is a real thing, and that will give a lot more stability to it.
Yeah, I mean, I say the modules for them is basically their beta testing process, so they can iron out any bugs that they find and any balance issues, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And as well, it'll be exciting for people to get their hands on it.
I kind of feel like when the modules do come out, this will be a lot of publicity for the game at that point. Like, a lot more people will come to find out what this game is when something playable is there.
Maybe some like big YouTubers will play it, and then there'll be like loads of people flooding everywhere.
Like right now, because there's no material out on the game yet. Not many people are, viewing it. It's literally just a tiny community looking at it. But when they put a video out, or when they bring the modules out, you'll get people like Frankie playing on it, PSI Syndicate, Lyric. You get all of them playing it.
Yeah, talking about the YouTubers and stuff, I know that a lot of Twitch streamers that are based off of roleplay are planning to play. Like the Household. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't know about that.
They play a lot of roleplay based games. They actually have their own roleplay servers for their community.
I'm guessing
which is pretty interesting. No, actually, it's they did Life is Feudal. I think they had a Rust server once. They have they play on Atlas Life or whatever it's called for Arma, and they also had Reign of Kings server for all roleplay servers that they hosted for their communities.
That sounds pretty interesting.
Should we move on to the modules?
Right, let's talk about the town square. So this is basically Identity's social module, the place where you'll be able to interact with other people, like go into bars and play pool or whatever. This will literally be pretty goddamn simple, but you'll be able to see how player interaction will work.
Yeah, I think when the module is released. Oh yeah, sure.
That's fine. I'm finished.
I think when the module is released, I think the reason they want to do the town square first is so they can get the basic idea of like player interaction, so they can test out the bugs, like you said, with the talking system, the VoIP system.
Yeah.
And
when you're looking, sorry.
I think that would be a good chance for them to also mention everything that's going on so far once they release that.
Well, some of the things that they're adding in the town square module are a lot of the basic stuff that's going to be in the main game, including customer characterization, a lot of the social parts of the game, like the smartphone, which you can use to contact other people and do a lot of the in-game social stuff. And if you have had a development paid, so like trying to think of the way that they get funding for the game. If you have a level that includes a housing, you can actually go into you can start messing with that house when the module comes out.
Oh, their donation tiers.
Yeah.
Kickstarter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think the modules will be a very crucial part of seeing if RDM is a big issue, because when the SWAT module comes out, if they can include civilians in there, it'll be a big help, because RDM in Altus Life, it was a huge issue because guns were just so accessible to people.
Yeah, I kind of feel like in the game, there's going to be some crucial way you have to go through guns, because one of the jobs you can get in the game is police officer. And from what I can sense, they have access to a lot more weapons and a lot of other different types of stuff that a police officer would usually have access to.
Yeah, I talked to Motown a little bit about this. He mentioned that basically when the servers first come out, it's going to be a rush for the jobs, because no one is actually there's no higher ups when it first comes out, because
I kind of feel like
None of the staff members are going to be in the force or anything.
That's what I kind of feel like the modules will be for, is to start placing all those important jobs in the game.
Yeah, probably. It's basically going to be when the game first comes out, or the modules where you can actually get your police job. I think people are going to rush for it so they can get high ranks above other people before because I think there's a limit to who gets what.
I think with as far as RDM goes, there needs to be a some sort of system. I don't know how it will work in order to stop it from happening. Like maybe kind of an insanity meter or something.
It'd probably go into reference into the type of things you do in the game. Like, have you killed people in the game? Have you done certain things in the game that would draw suspicion on whether you should use a weapon?
I don't know how their weapon system would work because I haven't really talked to Motown about it, but I'm pretty sure because of how realistic the game is supposed to be, it's going to be more towards the realistic edge.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, I would rather there be no guns in the game if it was me, but then you kind of getting rid of that playstyle of being the criminal.
Yeah,
which
you can't really be a criminal without weapons.
I think normal civilians should have access to hunting rifles that are... I'd say they do more damage to, animals, but not to humans. Like, obviously that wouldn't happen in real life. If you got shot with a hunting rifle, you just die.
Yeah. I feel like...
But in terms of balancing for the game, I think it will work a lot better.
I kind of feel like if you take away the weapons from the citizens of the game, who just do regular jobs and, like, all the smaller jobs in the game, then they can't defend themselves. And
yeah. And, like, for instance, there's the hunting feature for hunting animals and skinning them and stuff like that for money. I think the guns will actually be pretty easy to get because of that hunting feature.
I kind of feel like with that, they're gonna have some type of service where you have to go to like a booth or like a registration system where you have to basically sign up to get a weapon and then go hunting for a certain amount of time, and then you have to go back and get them the weapon back.
Maybe. I don't know how they're going to do it, but through that, for instance, for Atlas Life and all those other ones that have weapons, where it's bad with RDM because there's tons of weapons available to anyone, because all you have to do is buy a license and then buy the weapon.
Yeah.
Right, let's talk about the racing module now. For me, this is huge.
Yeah. I think that's going to be pretty
one of the big things. One of the big things in this game for me is going to be the cars, because it will kind of give you something to go for. Like, I want to do the more legitimate businessman route, and having like cars to go for, just talking real life now is a normal thing to want to go for in life,
Yeah.
So what really interests me about the car module is the cars are very realistic in the game. You can build them like they're really real cars, and you fix them like they're real cars. So that's going to be really interesting to see if they live up to that.
They're actually going to make it so you have to fix it like realistically?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm actually going to school currently for automotive repair, so that would be really interesting for my choice in a job in the game.
That's a good point. As far as the educational standpoint, obviously it's going to be an aged higher game because people are unpredictable, but if teenagers 16, 17, if they're doing a specific course where, they're in the automotive industry or the media industry, wherever, they can learn about new things.
Yeah.
And, like, when they're talking about the driving mechanic in the game and how it's very realistic, I hope they live up to this mechanic, because in the past, games have said, oh, the driving's really realistic, and then the driving turns out to be shit. So I'm crossing my fingers that they live up to this. It's a really big thing. Let's just hope
that the driving physics won't be like Arma 3.
Well, I talked with...
It's just horrendous.
I talked with Motown about the driving features a little bit, he mentioned that basically, if you're going fast enough to be basically shot out of your window, you will be shot out of your window if you're not wearing your seatbelt.
Oh my!
But it's basically just like GTA a little bit in that sense, where if you're going, depending on how fast you're going, it depends on how far you fly out your window if you're not wearing your seatbelt. For instance, like if you hit something on a motorcycle, you're going to go flying far, depending on how fast you're going.
This is the type of stuff that gives me little fan orgasms because they do stuff like this, and I really hope they go for it because that's the type of realistic stuff where I'm like, I gotta think about this. Should I wear my seatbelt?
Yeah, I mean, the little details count, don't they?
Yeah, I like the idea that they're actually going to shoot you out of the vehicle because for like Atlas Life and stuff like that, you still died if you weren't wearing your seatbelt, but you didn't fly out of the window. You actually died inside the vehicle, which kind of ruined it.
Actually, with that, like with those small details, they're really amazing when you like figure out these small details. Because for example, I was playing GTA 5 a couple of days ago, and I didn't know this, but I noticed it is when you're driving through a tunnel or like a subway, you're just like your map actually disappears.
Yeah, satellite based.
Yeah.
Like, not only that, but this game can probably take a lot of inspiration from GTA because they're very alike because, you know, they're set in America and they're kind of trying to go for the same thing, but GTA is more over the top. It's more around the crime orientated
GTA
side of it.
is basically just an open world shooting game.
But it's small things in GTA, you know, like the map and like the exhaust cracks of when you get out the car with the engine cooling down, which kind of separates it from games like Saints Row.
Yeah.
And it just makes it that much better.
And that's one of the other things with that is the weather system in GTA 5 is really incredible because like if it starts to rain, the puddle sizes depend on how long it rains or where the puddles happen. So if I hope Identity, they never really talked about it, but I hope Identity has like dynamic weather system.
Yeah, I don't really know how they'll work that out. I mean, it'd be pretty cool, like, if it hailed or whatever, it had, like, little ice chunks on the ground, and it makes the roads, like, the handling for your car worse, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think if they make the weather, like, affect certain things in the game, like your car or maybe your health of your character, I think that would be really cool. Like, so, say if you were out in, like, the ski resort and you were just bare naked, and you know, you could get hypothermia or something.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So do you guys want to move forward?
Yeah, we'll move forward to the developers now. So, you know, the two main guys are Motown and Paratus.
Yeah.
So their past games, well, I'm pretty sure they did like Mortal Online or something.
They did
they started.
They
with
did
that.
a life mod that was incredibly popular on Arma 3, and that's where they got their basis.
Yeah, Asylum Life.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they did do another game though. I think it was something along the lines of Mortal Online or something like that.
I kind of feel like this game is kind of the child baby from that Arma 3 mod.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, there's no other game that has even been announced that's going to be like this. So, you know, I'd rather have someone who knows like the life mod inside and out to get it right, but at the same time, like, they haven't done that many games before, so they haven't really got much of a track record to go by of actually, you know, making a game from the ground up, and that's kind of what people are concerned about as well. Like, personally, I do think that they'll do it right, because, you know, they do show a lot of passion into it.
Actually, something I need to say real quick is that we actually skipped over a module that's going to be coming out before the race.
Oh, yes, SWAT.
Yeah, the SWAT one. I forgot to talk about that one.
Yeah, we'll go back to that really quick. So the SWAT module's basically a PvP mode, isn't it? It's I don't know along the lines of what it's going to be, but I think it'll kind of be like Rainbow Six Siege, where you kind of have to go and raid a house or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
But that's all I can really think, like a cops v robbers type of thing. There's not really that much information about that yet, so we're just gonna have to sit tight for it.
I have a feeling that's probably going to be mainly for introducing the weapon system in the game and the type of way of weapons.
Yeah, that'll be good to see how the weapon mechanics are, because I did see that certain guns like could lock if like, you know, Far Cry 2 style. So if you shoot a gun for too long, it'll be worn down and then it'll just end up not working at all and you'll have to throw it away. So that'll be interesting to see. So we'll go back to the main developers now. So Motown and Piratus. So, you know, their track, like I was saying, like the track record, it's not really there which people have concerns about. Like I do think they'll pull it off because they do show a lot of passion for what they are building.
Definitely. I think with that, they do show a lot of commitment to the game, and that's why there's not a lot of PR stuff right now, is that they're concerning themselves with developing the game instead of doing PR, and that shows a lot of commitment. Yeah,
I mean, when you think about it, it's 9 people. You got to think No Man's Sky had Sony with them, so it was kind of like they could do PR things.
When you think about it, with the situation, it usually takes it takes more than 2 years to make a game. Usually about 6 years to a game to this extent. And the difference between this game and another game is this game got announced at the beginning of its production.
Yeah.
But usually a game is usually announced a year or two before. So, like a year or two before it gets released. So there's usually a period of time where they work on it in secret. In this case, it was not.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's going to be a lot longer waiting period for this game.
I do think they could put more things out. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, definitely.
Because seeing hair assets and stuff like that, it's cool, but we've seen hundreds of them before. I think they could try a bit harder, but obviously they are trying to put 100% work into the game, and you know what? I'm totally fine with that. It'd just be a lot better if, you know, I know it's Motown side, if he could like put more effort into writing dev blogs or something, like a monthly dev blog.
Like that's kind of what we're hoping to achieve with this podcast, is to give the devs a outlet to start talking to the community.
Yeah, a platform to inform people. Yeah. So yeah, they are actually. We're hoping that we're actually going to get them on this podcast. Hopefully, we do.
Yeah, I believe so.
We do. I talked to Paparatus, and he's very interested in doing this. He couldn't make it this time because of previous commitments, but definitely in the future.
So hopefully get some answers out of them soon.
Hey, before we continue, Christian, do you have any thoughts about the way the developers have been doing their PR stuff and the way that they're developing the game?
Well, I talked with Motown a little bit, and they don't really have much to do PR on because they're still working on the components and whatnot. So they mentioned that because of their small team, like I said earlier, because of their small team, they don't really have time.
I believe, like, last week, they finally finished the karaoke system, which is a very small detail, but it was like, oh, the karaoke system is finished. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I won't be doing that because I suck at singing.
I think that's the point.
Right. Are we ready to move on to the next subject?
Anybody else have anything to say before we move on?
No, I believe we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Alright. So let's talk about, you know, the future of this game. Like, once it's released, what can be done after it's released?
Yeah. I guess we can start with what are our thoughts on the game, and do we have any, like, do we think it can be done? Is there any criticisms about the game as of yet about it? And I guess we'll go in order. Do you want to go first, Power?
Yeah, go on. I think the main criticism I have with it is the fact I am still a little bit skeptical. I'm not gonna lie. It's a very big project done by a very small team that don't have much of a track record.
Yeah.
Like that's all I'm really going off. I have faith in them, and that's what's keeping me going. But at the end of the day, if they pull this game off, it will be amazing, and they'll probably make a lifetime earnings off it.
So Badger, what do you think?
And
Oh, sorry, I completely just interrupted you, and then this was like, oh, let's move on.
no, that's all right. It's all right. You can go.
Okay, so I believe it can be done, but they just need to take their time, really. There's no point in rushing it. We're all going to be patient because we all want it, and in the end, we don't really want to have a really rushed game. Because, like, let's admit it, this is the game we've wanted for a long time, and we don't want it to end up being bad. So I think they should just take their time. But criticism that I do have, I think they have been a little. The only thing I'd complain about is that they have been a little slow with the PR, and I think they could improve that to.
I think when you ask most people about their complaints about the game and what they think about the game is that PR, of course, the slow PR movement, and also with their the way that they're developing the game, and that when they're saying, "Oh, we really want this game to come out sooner," like you're right in saying that in a lot of cases, in the end, people will want a much better game instead of a rushed game. And I think going back to No Man's Sky, that's kind of the problem they had too. So, Christian?
Yeah, the thing about everything is they have a small group. You said like 9 people power.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And they each have to work on their own segments of the game, and that's where the PR kind of goes bad because they can't really find the time to do it, and they don't really have anything to do PR on. They have like little segments, like you said, the karaoke that just recently was released, or was not released, but was finished. They don't really have player models completely done yet, so they can't really release anything about player models. But other than that, I think they're doing their best.
I think with that, like with their progression bars for the modules completion, and for the past couple months, it's been stuck at 64%. And one of the things that another person in the community asked them was, why is it still stuck at 64%? And what Motown said really good, like said something about the team, because they said, we're not going to progress the bar until we feel like we've done enough work. So,
yeah, because you don't want to get close and then have it like stuck at 99% for like a year.
I think that says a lot about the developers of the game, because it shows that they're willing to put a little bit more work instead of just saying, okay, we did good enough. Instead of saying we can do better.
The thing about the game, like all the mechanics they want to do, it's going to take time, and if it's rushed, it's going to be horrible.
I think just one thing that people want is closure, that it's still being worked on, and you know their investment is safe, like I did say at the start. And
that's what the modules are mainly there for, is to provide that closure.
Yeah, but the other thing too about the modules is that it's part of the actual game, so they're still working on the modules while they're working on the game. However, it's still going to take time, which is what's worrying most people, because they think, like we mentioned before, they think most of it is a scam because of how much money they had to put into it, which they didn't have to put much in. They just decided to invest that much into the game.
I mean, I think I remember seeing a comment on one of my videos saying that, like, how can you believe that the game's going to come out when only 100 grand's been put into it and only 9 people's working on it? And to be fair, that is a fair point. 100 grand for a game isn't a lot at all.
But you gotta think about it, the fact that a lot of that money ends up going to the developers of the game who are paying the salaries of the people who are working for them. That's where a lot of the money ends up going to.
Yeah, and plus, because it's going to be an MMO, they have to pay for the servers and stuff to host the game itself.
I mean, I think I did see that they did have investors to help them with any funding they might need. So, you know, if they do have investors, that is very good, because then you kind of know that if they do run out of the 100k, which by now I'd probably say they would.
It's probably mostly gone, but more people are buying the game every day and investing more money into it, which helps them out quite a lot. Like, I've invested a lot. I'm not going to say a number to make people feel bad, but I've invested a lot of money into the packages for the game.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's like people like you that help the development process stay going.
Yeah, I'm fine with investing money into a game that I will find myself playing for a while.
Yeah, and with that, like the way that the funding works is that you can buy in tiers, and then depending on how much money you give them, they give you a certain amount of things. And so, like for the first one, which I believe is $15, you can get. Actually, no, I believe it's 20. Yeah, it's 20. It's $20. 20 USD. I don't know how much it is in pounds for you guys. So
I think it's around about
15.
15.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And so with that, like the first one that you can buy, you just get like a special item and then the game. And then if you pay like $10 more, you can get the beta access, which is called the Founders. So I do actually have to recommend that if you do want to go find this game and you want to go fund it, at least get the Founders one, because you can get the beta access.
The citizenship, the first one is $15. The Founder is $30, which isn't bad. It's a $15 leap, but you get beta access, which is all of the modules and whatnot.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll move on to features that you want to see more of. So we're talking things that have already been announced. Personally, I want to see probably more racing, like I said before, because not gonna lie, racing is something I do love.
Yeah, and you have the people that they bought the Speed Demon pack, which is first off a lot of money, and second off it gives you a sports car, which would be interesting for the racing mechanic.
Actually, real quick, so one of our members does have to leave early in the podcast, so we're just gonna say a quick goodbye to them.
All right then, that's fine. I'll speak to you again soon.
Yeah, see you.
Okay, have a nice day.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Patrick.
And I guess we continue from there.
Right, so
yeah,
what was I saying? So yeah, racing. I want to see like what cars they're going to put in, because I know they are going off of real models. To just
I saw
them the
I
same
saw on the
thing.
forums that someone's actually building their own business for cars.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's for a private server or the official servers, but I think that'd be interesting for like designing their own like cars for the game. It's not really designing their own car, but they're putting in actual designs for cars. Like they'll have Lamborghinis and stuff like that with the doors and stuff like that. So
like their own car dealership.
I think that'd be interesting too. Yeah, they're starting their own car dealership, and they're actually looking for people to join for selling, I guess. And you get a profit of, like real life, you get the profit of what you sell.
Interesting. What about you, Christian? Like, what do you hope to see in the game?
I was looking into the housing system, because only one person can own any house, but you can also rent out houses. So I was thinking of doing a real estate section. However, I talked to Motown, and he said that you could only own probably 2 houses, one to rent and one to live in.
I don't know how I feel about that. I think in order to make a real estate business, you need to obviously own more houses.
That's the thing. I mean, I could buy a house and rent it out for extra money.
Yeah, I know for a fact that they did confirm in the game that you can buy a house and then rent it out to other people. So I know that's confirmed to be in the game. Yeah,
I talked to Motown about it.
Yeah.
But he mentioned that, as I said, you can only own up to 2 houses, one to live in and one to rent out.
I think that's to prevent trolls, to be honest.
Yeah, because someone could just come in and buy everything.
Can just not buy every house, and then no one else can live in them.
Yeah, plus, like, if you wanted if they really wanted to do a real estate business, they could just buy up all the houses and rent all of them out, so no one could actually buy their own house, like completely.
Yeah, no one else could own all the real estate.
So basically, they've monopolized the whole area. So you actually have to pay money to that person to get it, and I think they can actually set how much the rent is, so they could just keep rising it if they wanted to.
Is there anything else to talk about there?
No, I think I don't. Did you guys mention your parts that you wanted to do?
Yeah, I mentioned it. So what do you want to see in the game in the future?
I don't really have any preferences. Like everything they've done so far, or what they look like they're going to do, is or what they're going to do is pretty good.
Yeah, I think I saw something about like them expanding on it, like
Yeah.
making new maps.
Yeah.
I think that would be incredibly good. Like not just for the fact that it's a new map, but the fact that the developers can earn more money without making the game pay to win.
Yeah.
So if they could make a Caribbean island or something as like a holiday destination, and that
I do need to actually figure out where we are because my computer decided to go to sleep, so I kind of got kicked.
Right, sorry.
So did we move on?
Oh, we're just we're just talking about the like what we want to see in the future after it's released.
Wait, are we still in the same segment or?
Yeah. I'm just talking about like.
Oh, okay.
Future expansions like maps. They could also use the airport for like moving between those maps. Although then again, I don't know how that would work because then the server would have to load up a new map. Don't know how that would work, but it'd be pretty cool to see.
I feel like not as much as probably near the beginning or maybe near closer to the middle, but like the server traffic will probably be really big until they can get better servers. So that's probably definitely going to be a problem.
Yeah. The other thing about the map is it's massive. Like they mentioned, it's going to be what? I
think it's twice the size of GTA 5.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, it's not that big.
No.
I mean, in comparison to GTA, it's not that big because you've got helicopters and planes. But
the other thing too,
the fact there's no helicopters and planes, you're gonna be able to go on long road trips, which, to be honest with you, I don't really mind.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll have helicopters and whatnot, which would be interesting because most of the games do. However,
sorry.
However, as we were talking about, it's going to be bigger, like 2 times bigger than the GTA map. However, there is going to be a limit of 300 people or more on each server. If you think about that, that's a lot of people for that small area.
Yeah, that's plenty big enough.
Actually, what would be really interesting is plane services in the game with that.
Oh, you mean like actual airlines?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
The
cool.
thing about that, though, is that there's not really a second place to go to. Like, you can go across map, but
they have a couple cities, towns in the game. So there are a couple places. And there's actually, like, a couple higher elevated places, like a mountain, which you can actually use to ski.
Yeah, I guess, the skiing that you mentioned, yeah. But the thing about that, though, is I think it would be good for that, but how does the gas work? Like, is it unlimited like most games, or do you actually have to fill up? Because I don't think I've ever talked to Motown about that.
I think you'd probably end up having to fill up if they're going to keep with the realistic.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Do you? Okay. That's going to be interesting.
I actually wanted to make a quick shout out because on the Discord server, somebody actually said something that was really interesting to me, and I just want to bring this up and what your thoughts were. So somebody, Zoom Trauma, they talked about how a really interesting idea would be hacking in the game.
That would be pretty cool. That would
be interesting. It would also be really good for the crime syndicate to hack into places that they plan to rob, so they could see the area around it. And like for watch, like if they could hack into the police department and watch them to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Not only that, but they could hack into like traffic systems, like traffic lights and stuff like that.
It's chaos.
Another thing that could relate to hacking is the deep web. This is like a really early suggestion that I saw.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be incredibly cool to see. Like that's kind of like the area where you could find
black market.
The black market, drugs, guns.
I think that's how a lot of people would end up, like a lot of more criminal syndicates would be able to get their weapons and such. Would be through
through the black market. It would make more sense doing that than going to a store and just buying one. Because, for instance, like you could, in the real life, you can find people by the serial numbers. However, if you go and buy one, like you can scratch them off, but you can still match the ballistic.
Yeah, and actually, with the hacking, I'm actually curious if they do implement a hacking system in the game. How would that work? Because it has to be in a way that people can do it.
Yeah, it needs to be not how real life hacking is, so not complicated.
No, you can't. You can't really do that anyways with the game.
I feel like they'd probably end up making a smaller, like simplified version of a programming language to put in the game.
Yeah, but
I think it needs to a certain extent. It needs to be difficult because you don't want to hack people's bank accounts every 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
I think a smaller, simplified program, like programming language that you would have to learn, would be a really interesting thing. So you could literally learn how to program in that language and then use that to hack people. So you would actually have to learn how to do it.
Yeah, that would be cool.
If they did hacking, the thing about that as well is like Power mentioned, if they could hack into your bank accounts, they could just keep taking your money over and over again if it's too easy. And you'd have everyone basically trying to hack everyone in the server, and they lose all their stuff. And it's just back and forth hacking. And it'd just be chaos.
Yeah, it'd be really annoying, to be honest.
Yeah.
You'd probably have to have like special equipment to be able to hack.
Yeah, you spend a fortune to get it. On top of having to know some code to be able to do it, to use it.
I feel like it would be like moderate pricing for the thing, and then you would actually have to learn about like how to use it and like how to implement it. And it would probably take time.
Yeah, but like you mentioned, if they do plan to do like actual prices, like real life prices on the game, first off, gas is going to be expensive. Let's just put that out there. But paying actual prices, you need like a laptop or a computer, which would be quite a bit of money to do hacking.
When you think about it, you could just get a cheap old laptop from like a pawn shop, have a USB with Kali Linux on it, and then you can go ahead.
Yeah.
So it's not that much to do it.
I don't know if they would do that. If they'd go for that. First off, because it'd be they'd have to go through basically the whole infrastructure of the game to put that in.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think it'd be one of those features that they put in later. They're not launch.
Yeah, when they have more manpower first off, which they probably will once the game is released.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they'll have more money.
Once they launch, they'll be able to get more stuff on.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is no one really wants to buy the game when it's not launched yet because first off they have to wait for it, and people are impatient. However, they want to make sure that it's not a scam, which we mentioned before. But after it's released, they will get more money because of all the people that were playing it and reviewing it and whatnot.
If it does well. If it does well, that will.
If it does well, yes, they would get more money. But I think it's going to be pretty well because of everything they plan to implement into it, and it's better than most of the games that have already been released for roleplay reasons.
When it is released and streamers like Lyric get their hands on it, it'll definitely do well because as long as it's all been refined, it's got hardly any bugs in it. Everyone will want it because people like Lyric will make their own servers, or Mr. Moon and Kibba will make
Mr. Moon.
Servers.
That's one of the household members I was talking about.
Yeah.
Him and his household would probably play the game, and I think they share maybe almost.
They've got Twitch RP.
50,000 people.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not too concerned about if the game's good when it's released, about it getting popular because it most likely will.
Well, yeah, but it won't be super popular with all the bugs when it first comes out. But they'll just refine them over time.
No, if they can refine them and patch them quick, then people will see that the developers aren't messing around. Like they do care.
Yeah, the developers, like right now, they're building the game from scratch. Patches will not take long for bugs.
I mean that they're using an engine they're familiar with.
I believe they're using the Unreal Engine 4. The Unreal Engine 4.
Yeah, they are.
And that's a pretty good engine to be using for this game.
I figured to be the Unreal 4 because if you look at it, the Unreal 4 has better graphic capabilities, which is why the game looks so great in like their videos of the game, of the details like the forest and all that other stuff. The reason it looks so great is because of the Unreal 4 engine, because it has a better graphics support.
Yeah. Right. Should we move on to what you feel the devs need to do to not mess the game
By
up?
the way, the about the hacking thing, that's what I hope to see. That's my answer to that one.
Yeah. I honestly think the devs just need to be straight up, not lie to us, and just give information to us to, not mess anything up.
Yeah.
Because if they go around saying, oh yeah, the game's gonna have this, and this in it, and something of that, like those things aren't in it, people are gonna kick off.
Yeah, the main problem though is that with most of the stuff they've already said, or some of the stuff they already said, they can't actually finish it entirely before the game is released.
Yeah.
However, I think they plan to do it.
Yeah, obviously.
I think they plan to do it afterwards because right now there's a bunch of people rushing them to finish, and they want to implement everything, but they can't.
To be fair to them, they have said that certain things won't be in the game because, like, I think someone asked about GTA 4 crash physics.
Yeah.
About how it was so good, and like they were like, no, like it's something to do with network packets or something like
that.
Yeah,
they mentioned that they wanted to do realistic crashing physics. Like if you hit something hard enough, your car will be an accordion.
Yeah, definitely. And with that, I'm trying to, just continue because I lost my train of thought and I can't remember what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's all I was gonna say, to be honest with you. Just be honest and true to people, and they shouldn't mess up if they do those things.
I kind of feel like because with Motown being the community manager of the game, I feel like because he does help with developing the game, but I kind of feel like he should be managing his time a little bit better with PRing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, he's essentially working two jobs.
They don't really have like an official. They don't have an official community manager. That's his only job. They just have someone. They have Motown doing it, and he has to do his own work as well. And like what I said with the rushing, they don't really have time because they have to try and finish the game quick enough or at least finish the modules quick enough
for people
to be settled and happy.
Something that would be nice is if they would, like, with people like us who are doing a podcast about it. And it would be nice if they would be able to use these different type of outlets to update the community. And
yeah, I mean, obviously they're not official forms of, like you know what, they could take this podcast if they wanted to and put it on their own YouTube channel. When they do Q&As and stuff like that.
Yeah, for instance, like we mentioned that we wanted to get some of the devs in here, Motown or Paradis, and that'd be great, of course. However, finding the time to do so is what's going to be hard for them.
Paratis, he was very interested. I talked to him before we were doing this, and he was very interested in this podcast, and he was showing a lot of interest in doing the podcast, and he actually, the only reason he really couldn't make it to this one was because of prior commitments. But
yeah, he's on vacation.
Yeah. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving to all of our Canadian viewers, by the way.
Yeah, I never knew that was a thing.
I actually thought that was a joke from How I Met Your Mother, and then I found out it was a real thing. So that's a thing.
So I think as soon as we get them on, the word will spread around, like even the forums. That will probably get posted on the forum somewhere, so they can address it there.
Is that about it?
Yeah, I think that's about it. Does anyone want to say anything else?
I guess
you can go first.
Jinx. By the way. Anyway, so one of the feelings about this is I really hope that with this podcast we can start delivering information to people and hopefully calm down the community a little bit. And that's my hope for this.
Yeah, the other thing I want to mention is that our Discord server, which is community run, it's not run by the devs because, well, first off, they're busy, like you said. But we do have Pratis and Motown in here that can answer questions when they have time. And if anyone wants to join, they're welcome to. I think we recently achieved over 125 people, something like that.
Actually, we just passed 150 today.
Nice. Okay. Well, we're getting a lot of people. I don't know what the limits are anymore, but I'm pretty sure it's at least 300 on this one Discord, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But
although I believe you you can raise it, I believe.
I don't know. I think if you're partnered with Discord, you can. I have no idea. But like, if you guys want to join and help or ask questions and hang out with other community members, you're welcome to. We have our own channels and stuff set up for questions and answers and stuff. We need to get practice and stuff and them to answer questions and whatnot.
I guess we'll leave the link to it in the description below, as well as the iTunes that you can find us at. So if you're on the YouTube channel of Power Gaming, then you'll find the iTunes link. And then if you're on the iTunes, if you're listening through this to iTunes, you will find Power Gaming 7's YouTube channel link in the description.
Right, so I guess that is all we have time for in this episode of the podcast. The podcast will be on around about once every 2 weeks, unless some major news comes out to change that. And if you did watch this far, please drop a like down below, and if you have any suggestions, put them in the comments, as we will be reading every single comment so we can improve this podcast. Just a quick side note, this is all of our first podcasts, so if it seems a little bit awkward, that's why. We'll probably most likely get better as we, familiarise ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
This was put together
with everything
last
there.
Second, so
yeah, it was very, very short notice. Not gonna lie, but
yeah, but you did a good job.
Yeah, I think he did. He was a good MC.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching and listening, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.